Good morning and welcome to the Center of Love. Such a beautiful way to greet our day with Love Never Fails You. And as I look around the room and see all these wonderful, open, loving hearts, and one part that was in the song was the love always flows through. And when I was looking around as we were all enjoying the music, it was like I could feel the love flowing from one to another, from one heart to the next, circling and back and forth and weaving a beautiful rhythm and energy that surrounded all of us and went through us at the same time. What a beautiful way to start. So awesome. So again, welcome to the Center of Love for those that are here in the room and for those that are joining us online. What I love about the community is just embodied in that music. And I am really honored to introduce our next speaker, Dre. Dre is someone who I met online before I actually met him. And that was my first introduction, was he was doing a skit. And it was interesting because when I saw him online doing the skit, it was to know that person. And I was fortunate enough shortly thereafter to meet him in person and he become a very good friend of mine. I've known Dre for many, many years now. He always speaks from his heart. He is the epitome of our story, or pardon me, of the song, our opening song, Love. Love flows through. He's welcoming. He's a wonderful person. He loves cats. If you could see him, he's holding a kitty. And he is here to talk to us today about the masks we wear. So Dre.
Thank you.
Well, good morning.
Good morning.
Let's take a deep breath to just land here. I'm going to start with a story. When I was a child, I was raised by my mother. My dad had passed away when I was 2. And the man that my mom ended up being with in a long-term relationship, who was also very much like my stepdad, but he really wasn't part of my life very much. He was more in the background. He never did anything with me. So my mom, she was more laissez-faire, which is to say that all too often, she left me to my own devices. And that created a double edge. While I was free to do just about anything I wanted, which was great in many respects, she didn't necessarily engage with me and meet me at my level the way I required. She did what she wanted to do, and I needed more. I know she loved me, but to a 7-year-old who craved that attention, I needed something more than what she was able to give me. And I needed to be more than just me. So I developed one of my first masks to get her attention. I became the comedian. I became the funny guy, the actor. I went to entertain her, and I got her attention through my entertainment. And she often claims, even to this day, how much I made her laugh growing up. You know, doesn't help me breathe very much, but that's okay. But this isn't about bashing my mother. It's not about that in any way. Really, she had a lot going on in her life, and stuff that a child can't understand until he grows up and starts to figure out all of the requirements that life demands of us, parenting and making ends meet, and taking care of all that needs to be taken care of when we adult, shall we say. And she, like everyone else, had masks of her own to contend with. Breathe again. And what are masks anyway? Well, they're a survival mechanism that we use to survive childhood. All of us did. And they follow us into adulthood. And they show up in a variety of ways. They're the roles that we play, like the breadwinner, the people pleaser, the party guy or the party girl, the nice guy and the bad girl. The rule breaker, the rebel, the person who's got it all together, and so many more. You get the idea. But why do we wear these masks? They're here to try and keep us safe and protected from the outside world. They are based in fear, and therefore they are scary to expose. And when we come into this world, we only have but two natural fears: the fear of falling down and the fear of loud noises. And all the other fears are learned. Masks equal fear. Fear equals limitation. But you can't be all that you can be in this world when you live in fear. And that's one of the what is one of the biggest fears that we all have? What is the reason we wear all these masks in the first place? The fear of being vulnerable. What is vulnerability? Well, in the words of Brené Brown, who helped bring this word into full consciousness like never before, vulnerability is not weakness. And the uncertainty, risk, and emotional exposure we face every day is not optional. Our only choice is a question of engagement. Our willingness to own and engage with our vulnerability determines the depth of our courage and the clarity of our purpose. The level to which we protect ourselves from being vulnerable is a measure of our fear and disconnection. So true, isn't it? And that last part, we protect ourselves from being vulnerable is a measure of our fear and disconnection, is why we wear a mask. We're afraid. And every fear has some kind of mask attached to it. For example, the fear of failure brings forth the overachiever mask. The fear of success promotes the "I'm too cool for school" mask. The fear of disapproval perpetuates the people pleaser mask. And the fear of being ignored unleashes the attention seeker, or in my case, the comedian mask. Fear of money supports the altruistic, or the money is the root of all evil mask. And the fear of not getting it right sentences you to the perfectionist mask. So, what can we do? What must we do? Well, when Batman comes to quote Brené Brown, we start to have a clue. Only when we're brave enough to explore the darkness will we discover the infinite power of our light. If you don't know my backstory of being Batman, as a child, I witnessed my parents being killed, murdered in front of me. And I grew up in pain and really angry, pissed off. And that drove me to wear a mask and become a hero. And I aimed to defeat evil in the world. But I hid behind a mask. And the biggest villain that I had to face in this world and deal with was my own darkness. We need to become our own hero and face our demons, to start championing ourselves and risk being vulnerable if we ever hope to live our best life. If you live in your masks, you can never feel what it's like to be your true and authentic self. All right, enough of that. So Brené Brown has a lot of wisdom for us. So I'm going to share a few more things that she has shared. Vulnerability is the birthplace of love, belonging, joy, courage, empathy, and creativity. It is the source of hope, empathy, accountability, and authenticity. If we want greater clarity in our purpose or deeper and more meaningful spiritual lives, vulnerability is the path. Vulnerability sounds like truth and feels like courage. Truth and courage aren't always comfortable, but they are never weakness. Fortunately, for all of us here, we have this community where we can take baby steps in being more open, drop our mask, even for a little while, and risk showing our vulnerable selves. Speaking of which, about 2 years ago, I started a relationship with a wonderful woman, and she met 90% of my list of what I wanted in a woman. We had great fun together, only I had this bad feeling in my gut. I didn't know why. I needed to understand it, but it was there, and I didn't know what to do about it. And we talked pretty quickly about living together, and we did for a little while. My gut really let me know, like an alarm, that something was not right, but because I didn't understand it, and I wanted this relationship so bad, I stayed in it. I didn't listen because I had to understand what was happening, and tried for almost 2 years because I wanted it to work so badly, and I was afraid that I'd never find someone as wonderful, as beautiful, and talented and fun as she. And I was honest with her that I had this feeling in my gut, but the mask I wore was that I'm going to fix this and deal with it and not like try to get past this and stay in this relationship. But eventually I had to let it go because the feeling was too strong to ignore. It's not easy to move on, but the mask, I had to wear a mask in order to be in it as long as I did. And now I'm freeing myself and discovering self-love in a whole new level, a whole new way. And she's offered me the most incredible healing gifts that I've ever experienced. What about you? At this point, you have two choices. You can keep living life as you always have and wear the mask that you wear, and there's nothing wrong with that. You can give yourself that limited illusion of being protected, or like I did eventually, listen to your gut, honor your feelings, find the right people that you trust and places to be vulnerable, and start to drop your masks whenever you notice you're wearing them. And to conclude, I will share two more golden nuggets from Brené Brown. And she says, vulnerability is based on mutuality and requires boundaries and trust. It's not oversharing, it's not purging, it's not indiscriminate disclosure, and it's certainly not celebrity-style social media information dumps. Vulnerability is about sharing our feelings and our experiences with the people who have earned the right to hear them. Being vulnerable and open is mutual and an integral part of trust-building process. Vulnerability is the core, the heart, the center of meaningful human experience. It's a journey, my friends, and it won't happen overnight. But if you consciously do it more and more, you'll see in your life changes that you could have never imagined was possible. Thank you.
So this concludes our gathering today. As we reflect on all the wisdom and all the nuggets, our thoughts of today and as we go forth in this next week. And I'll turn it over to
Colleen?
Ollie. Oh, pardon me, yes. At the back, there is a small basket for some donations, which helps support our Center of Love. So feel free to add to it if you feel so inclined and you feel that it would be in your highest and best use. I'll turn it over to Ollie.
Thank you very much. And so the words I have for you, it's titled, Act Well the Part That Is Given to You. We are like actors in a play. The divine will has assigned us our roles in life without consulting us. Some of us will act in a short drama, others in a long one. We might be assigned the part of a poor person, a cripple, a distinguished celebrity or public leader, or maybe an ordinary citizen. Although we can't control which roles are assigned to us, it must be our business to act our given role as best as we possibly can, and to refrain from complaining about it. Wherever you find yourself, and in whatever circumstances, give an impeccable performance. And so, my friends, as we head back out into the world for a couple of weeks, whatever roles you have to play, whatever functions, whatever jobs you have to do, make sure that you put in an impeccable performance. Thank you all for being here, my friends.
Thank you.
Thank
Love
you.
you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.